Hello, dearie. Okay, so you can hear me. That's because I am getting set up for live video. Kind of have to do some. Oh, you guys can see me too. Great. Now you can see what I'm doing, so no one will be confused. Pop out chat. That's what I need. Hello, Michael J. Lassiter and Fondian. Okay, so basically I have a glove here that I'm sculpting, and I can't see right now what it is. I still need to do it this way. Okay. I still have to do this because I need to see what's happening on camera. See, like right now I can tell that was a terrible shot. This will be way better. That is my hunchback right there that I'm working on. But really, what I'm doing right now is putting in some hand details, cleaning up a sculpture. So I will hold your seat, Cobwebs. Got to dry. Okay. Yeah, certainly don't watch and dry. That's not good. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting some tendons in the wrist. Sometimes you can see tendons in people's wrist, but I'm actually using it as a cheat. These tendons will expand this way. So, you know, I can see the tendon in my wrist right here. But if when this is hollow latex, this will expand to let your hand through. So it's a cheat for me in order to get more flexibility and a better hand size out of this wrist. So, wife, you can kind of grab any table back there.
Okay.
You have all the puppers with you.
We have puppies.
They might make a camera appearance. They'll probably wander by in the background with something they shouldn't have in their mouth, and then I'll stop them.
Such a good chance.
Because they are tiny puppies. Michael Lassiter is starting off with, "Hi, Shannon."
Hi, Michael.
She said, "Hi, Michael," in a creepy robot kind of way.
Trying to find a spot that I can use with cord. Here's the
And this was just a block chunk of foam. I'm kind of using, I use a set of calipers just to check the size. And I know that my hand will fit inside of there, no problem. So that's what I'm worried about. And I put some finger lines in and I'm trenching them as normal. Whenever I put any kind of a groove in, I trench it. To make it look less like a tool mark and more like a wrinkle. This is a solid block of clay. This is kind of my second best way to do hands right now.
Is this scrap foam down here to the left of me?
Yeah, it's fine.
You can just guess, it has become the greatest toy ever.
Oh, I'm sure. Alright, so that's most of it.
Oh my goodness.
I have to build up this pad a little bit. So these are hands for the hunchback. Obviously, this is only one hand, and I'll do another one. But I don't like making gloves. But I will. Yes, we have puppies. We have 3 Great Pyrenees puppies. And they are terrorists from Pakistan. Or Piristan, I guess. Holy moly, they get into everything. I can hear something being destroyed in the background.
That's why you should bring the camera.
I'm not going to turn and look at what it is. Wife, you have complete control over the camera.
You do?
You do. You want to move it around, you go right ahead.
Show them the puppies.
Got a flat spot here, I got to fix that. It's already nice and wide.
Is it are we hooked up to
You
anything?
can just unplug it right here.
Oh.
Then kind of pop it out of that holder. And then let me turn it around. It's chilly in Texas. I have a cable knit sweater over a haunch shirt.
All right. Introductions. This is Boris, named after Boris Karloff. He has decided that this piece of latex is awesome. This is our little girl, Bella. She is trying to look innocent. She's named after Bella Lugosi, but with the feminine spelling, because that's what worked for us. And then this is Cheney, named after Lon Chaney. Cheney,
Jesse,
who has decided that this foam is awesome.
Jesse, we are doing mask making and stuff. Just right now, she's showing folks the dog because we just got off.
So there we go. Cheney has decided. Cheney's lost his mind. Okay. Back to sculpting. Do you need to flip something around?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, you want me to read questions?
Sure. Would be great if you read Christians. All right. There we go. And I have this on a little project board, so I will move that project board around a little bit. Trick is, I want my tools with me, so I put them on the other side, so that when I flip it, they're right there next to me. And I've barely done any work on the back of the hand here. It's still pretty plain Jane. I just hear like mass destruction happening behind me, as I have heard for weeks now. So yeah, this Hunchback is going to be a costume that I'm taking to Transworld. It's kind of a merger of puppetry and costuming, and that is something that I want to get into in the future. I think there's a big need for better puppets as we can break away. Any comments, honey?
Where did you finish?
Oh, baby. Let's just say the big word puppies in all caps.
Okay, then use a solid block of clay. You answered that one.
Yeah.
Don't let the puppy's pants out again. Michael Astor says hands are tough, especially molding.
They are. They're a pain in the butt. Running a mold wall between all these is a pain.
Wow, no Halloween pawn shirt.
I have one on. It's underneath of my sweater.
Alan is wearing a Cosby sweater.
I am wearing a Cosby sweater. Should I make you a cocktail?
Alan.
What? I'm just wondering if they're thirsty.
pretty awesome. We're now caught up.
Okay. So I need to, now I'm going to curl these fingers a little bit more because as an actor, I want a glove that'll help hold itself on. If it's a big glove like this and it's just straight, it wants to fall off. So if I curl the fingers up quite a bit, then the glove is in a more natural pose when I am holding it, when I'm wearing it. But sometimes your hand has to fight to get it out of this pose because this is how most gloves are sculpted. So, yeah. Looks like comments are popping up, love. Are you on the page or?
I am on the page. I'm also trying to find an outlet so that
Okay.
I can charge, and that's the challenge.
What do get you an outlet?
I am low on juice. I just need an outlet over here where I am. And I can-
It's behind you.
Not plugged in. I don't want to unplug anything. I don't know what this is going to, so I'm just kind of. I don't know.
Oh. Going to this unit.
This is not- this is not what this is. Or I can move to another out area.
No, I got you covered. We're doing the great plugging switcheroo right now, guys, so.
Watch out.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby. There's the devil. All right. While I'm up here working on this stuff, I'm gonna grab myself a little bit of water because I'm at a point where I want to use water and brush this guy out. I'm gonna get a little cup of that.
Looks like a demon paw of some sort.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a big old hunchback hand. Reading a box. There goes. You have goats. I swear I'm here. Eventually I'll be entertaining you. Or at least I'll be on the air. I should have had Shannon tell you a story.
Really nothing. Let me just put these goofballs on there.
Okay. So here we go. The doggos are happily destroying a box. I'm gonna thin down a little bit. I mean, it's gonna shrink a little. So I got to think about shrinkage too while I'm working on this. You set up there, love?
I'm set up.
Any questions? See them popping up.
Yes, I'll put the mine too. How far do you plan to go with puppets? Just full-size human puppet? Or even smaller Jim Henson style as well?
You know what? I think both of them need to be explored. We do not have a good haunted house puppet company right now. And I'll be doing some of that until I get copied enough to where the market is filled. You won't see that much this year, but it's in my plans for next year. I actually have a lot of planos. You know, if you see like convention costumes and stuff from me, you'll see a little more of that. I'm just really putting these bones on the back of the hand. My puppies are helping with audio commentary. I would never have them in the shop while I'm spraying something like glue or spray paint. That's not good for their little heads, but we're pretty chill tonight. I'm just going to be sculpting. I hope to have both of the Hunchback's hands sculpted, as well as his head sculpted, and I'll probably try and get him molded by Sunday. That way he is well underway. Because I still have some mechanical issues to figure out once these pieces are even done.
Zombie puppets is a suggestion.
Well, there's a company called VFX Creates, and they actually make the zombie attack puppets, and they're awesome. And there's no need for me to make that because they do such a good job at it.
No.
So look up VFX Creates. Their zombie puppets went viral on social media a while ago. They actually have another product that I'm working on with them. Well, I'm not working on it with them, but I've been hounding them to get this sucker out to market. And it's called the Minion. It's a sound box for actors and puppets and stuff. And I'll be incorporating that into some of my stuff as soon as I can.
What kind of clay are you using?
This is wet clay. It's water-based clay. It can dry out, but normally you have plenty of time.
Is this a Hunchback Quasimodo?
Yes, that is what it is.
What was the foam sculpted with that hardens like plastic?
Well, that is Loctite foam. It's not quite like plastic, but it's really good. Putting the Knuckle Wrinkles in here. And this guy's a hunchback, so I want to have some weird lumps and some extra bits, you know. He's not fully and well formed. Now that those are in.
Is that what you use to sculpt Baby Yoda?
No. The stuff that I used to sculpt Baby Yoda was actually it was an epoxy clay. It was a clay that turns into a plastic, and you have to mix two parts together. Yeah, you mix two parts together, and then it hardens in a couple hours' time. I think I used Magic Sculpt in the video, but I also used epoxy clay, and I also used some steel stick epoxy for some fixes. What are they into, wife?
The scrap foam down here is the greatest toy ever.
I see. Well, it's all scrap foam now.
It is now, that's right.
What'll really sell these as fingers is here in a while I'll put in fingernails, and that'll, just completely change them.
Are you a fan of Jurassic Park? Have you ever made anything dino related?
I have. I actually made some velociraptors for Universal Studios in Orlando. They used them in their Halloween Horror Nights attraction. Really the only dino thing I've made. Well, I made a big T-Rex, but that was way early in my career, and I made him out of wood frame and carpeting over top. He had carpet teeth. He was great.
So will this be like the ones that are like the attack puppets, or will any of the actor be seen when wearing this costume?
The actor's covered up. The actor is covered up when they're wearing this.
Magic Sculpt, that's it, thank you. I make all of my horns out of Loctite foam.
Dude, it's good stuff. Who said that?
That is dead end yard foam.
Oh yeah, I mean Loctite is the way to go.
Love your work, brother, and hello from Southern Indiana. That is from Mike Hart.
Hello, Mike. Thank you.
I would love to see the pics of them. That's from John Mowry, and I'm guessing the Jurassic Park dinosaurs.
You know what? I don't even know if I have any pictures of those anymore. That was a long time ago. I think I have one of... I was not the best documenter of my work. My wife has been very good for that, because she is a picture taker. And and I am normally not. So I just used a popsicle, well, a tongue depressor, to roll in that nail bed. And now I'm going to add a little bit of clay onto the end to become that nail.
Have you ever made a horse-drawn hearse?
Yes, I have. It did not work. It was not a functional hearse. There was no actual horse. We made it out of a table, and then we just put fake legs on the table, wheels in front of the table legs, kind of. So I've made them, but not on a high-end scale. At Dark Hour, we actually have the one made by Scare Factory. I've had to repair it a couple times, but I've made one in a very long time.
You're actually making Quasimodo? That's funny because you usually just take pre-existing characters and rename them, like Grinch and Cthulhu.
Well, no, I don't normally do that. What I make the most is my own stuff. I think lately I've been having to do some of that for work and whatnot. But Hunchback is something that I love. I love classic monsters. I'm doing a lot of classic monster stuff for Transworld this year. So, you'll see a Frankenstein version from me. You'll see a vampire from me. You will see a Hunchback. You'll see a good Wolfman from me. All of these are classic monsters that I want to do this year at TW. And by TW, I mean Terran's World. Okay, so I've got fingernails on now. Now I have to go back onto this side and clean up the fingernail edge, and I'll just use a 90-degree.
I don't see any reference pictures for hands with you, just going by your own hand, or what idea are you pulling from?
That's my reference. And then I'll add to it as I want. But, hands are one of the easiest things to do because you stare at your references all the time. As far
It's
as
awesome as always.
sculpting.
Is there a reason the fingers only have one joint?
There's not a little one up here by the knuckle. Because it's not going to read that well. If you look inside, they have the proper amount of joints. But I just did the big knuckle one because really that's when you see the most prominently. I'll pop a few little lines in there on the other side here shortly. So I guess the answer is no, but it's not done yet. Why are you rushing me, Holmes?
I love how fast the sculpting with wet clay progresses. Looks faster than Sculptex clay. I haven't used wet clay yet, just the oil-based clays. Which type do you like better?
Oh, I 100% prefer the water-based clay. That's because I want to sculpt as fast as I think. And I can make little notes with this clay, and if I'm fighting it, even, because it's too cold and too hard or whatever, it's February. Well, it's January still right now. It's January. It's cold everywhere. So oil-based clay would just be a lot of work to work with right now. I'd be fighting it like crazy. And I don't want to do that. But this is faster to me. And this isn't a sculpt I want to take 6 months on, I'm not leaving this on my kitchen table and working 20 minutes a night on it. No, I'm going to knock this puppy out this weekend, and this will be molded on Sunday. Along with another one. If I get this one done tonight, I'll switch and I'll start doing the other one. There is a pipe under here, screwed down. There's a pipe on it, so there is a actual armature, but it's just a pipe. and this is not a Mona Lisa, all right? I'm not doing anything here that is gonna win any giant awards. I'm getting the idea across that this is a nice gnarly monster hand, and then I'm moving on. I will put all the necessary details in it. I'm not going to shortchange it, but I'm also not going to take a real long time to knock this sucker out either.
Are you going to make a Wolfman live?
It's possible.
Or are you using a whole can for reference?
Nope. Well, yes, but mine. This is my Hulk hand for reference. My mitts right here.
Kenny. Kenny and Connie. Wow, when is hand count? We have yet to see an updated She-Ghost.
Hey, is that what?
That's Jordan.
Jordan?
Yes.
Hello, Jordan. Good to see you on. Yeah. The world's not knocking my door down to get me to make sheet ghosts. So as soon as I get some sweet sheet ghost orders in, you'll see me knocking those out.
But I can wait for my ghost.
What may be fun, honey, is I'm doing all these classic monsters. I could do a sheet ghost for Transworld. And just to see how much I could sell a sheet ghost costume for. Or does that count as toying with the public?
I've been working with Paula McClay for my life-size baby dinosaurs. Do you recommend anything cheaper in price?
Holy moly. Well, lots of things are cheaper than poly. I would go with Magic Sculpt, which is what I use for my baby Yoda. It's actually very inexpensive. I assume you're doing an undersculpt out of something like tinfoil to get the basic shape down. Is that correct? And then from there, then you're putting your clay on top of it. But the Magic Sculpt is really wonderful stuff, and it's not that expensive. Now this is a brush that got paint on it, so its bristles are really stiff, and I like it sometimes for smoothing out. So sometimes, even though a brush dies, I'll still hang on to it, and it actually puts a nice lined texture in. I'm going to fight that texture, but it's almost like a soft rake, and I don't have to mess with raking out all this if this stiff brush does it.
Awesome, thank you. I'm a big fan of your videos.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I am trying very hard to get back in the swing of videos. I want to get back on YouTube Wednesday really bad. I just need my life to get a little bit calmer before I'll be able to do that with consistency. Now, if I just put out 1 or 2 videos, I think you guys will get angry. I think I need to commit, and maybe there'll be a season for it where I do, 3 months of videos, so that's what, 12 videos, something like that, in a row, and then I take a month or 2 off.
I'm lost. What is a sheet ghost?
It's a ghost. You know how when you costume when you were a kid and you took a sheet and you put it over your head and you cut Charlie Brown's Halloween costume? That is a sheet ghost. Jordan is a sheet ghost aficionado, and he has a design that he wants to do for a sheet ghost. And every time he gets on live, he talks about the sheet ghost. And I think it's good to be passionate about things, so it doesn't make me angry. But Jordan likes sheet ghosts and has enthusiasm for sheet ghosts at a level hitherto unknown, which I also think is great. Good Lord, be excited about something. If it's sheet ghost, great.
How long does cured silicone last under controlled conditions?
400 years. Silicone, it's not really that organic of a compound, so it doesn't just break down like latex or wood or something like that does. Silicone is engineered, and it's very chemical resistant. It's UV resistant. It's just really good stuff. So it is used quite a bit because it's going to last so long. But you're talking, without use from a collector who just sits it on a shelf, years and years and years and years and years. There'll be silicone art in a museum that was made now, 300 years from now. Probably immortal masks, bunch of jerks. Their sculpts are so good. Andrew Freeman, big old jerk. Actually, Andrew Freeman is one of the nicest men in America. But every now and then he posts a sculpture that is so good it makes me angry. Because I don't sculpt that good. I'm putting some cuticles on now. I'm just making little ropes. I'm going to add them on, then I'll blend them in. So he'll have bigger cuticles than normal. I don't want it to look like a healthy hand, and I have to balance this big head because it's a puppet. The main reason I'm doing these gloves is because it's a puppet, and his head is going to be kind of a weird size in a weird place. And once I have established flesh on his head, I want to be able to match that with the flesh on his body. And all that they're going to be able to see is his hands. Everything else is covered up by costume.
How long have you been doing special effects?
I've been doing like haunted house special effects. Time did I go live, honey? Like
30 minutes ago?
8:30? Yes, it's about 8:30 p.m. I'm kidding. I have been doing this type of special effects. Someone asked earlier today
Go check on
when I made my first mask, and that was 95. So since 1995, I've been doing some kind of special effect. See, I'm just going back in now on this back side. I want the inside of that to still have its big separate roundness. But I want this to blend into the finger. Hashtag big separate roundness. I'll say that because my wife left the room because she heard a puppy yelp. They yelp all the time because they're not nice to each other because puppies are jerks. I don't know if you guys knew puppies are jerks. But they're all. Scott, are you on here? I have a head bus heading out for him if he is on here. I do not know. All right, so now this cuticle is on there, but it's a little too big. And that's one of the things that you do when I'm sculpting is I put it on and then it's too big. And I just want to calm it down. I needed there to be a swell there, but I didn't need it to look ridiculous. So now I can just calm it down by taking away some material. I'm going to get it relaxed. And I'll go through with my popsicle stick. Is my head blocking what I'm doing? No, good. Great. It's a little disconcerting that the puppy just came in without Shannon. What have they done with my wife? I'm going to get a note through the door. Give us bones if you want to see your wife again. Wife!
check on.
Unless they've learned to open the door. Okay, so hopefully you guys can kind of see what's happening there a little bit. This is smoothing out.
Are you bringing any of your stuffed animal masks to Transworld?
I don't think so. Not this year. Is that a request? Is someone wanting one? I might be able to bring a couple.
monsters?
There was a group making that at one point in time, and that's why I stopped. Someone else had kind of picked up the slack. But at some point, I will make some.
Have you used packing tape as a medium for sculpting?
Absolutely. Check out my video Boiler Room Body, and I have a couple videos on packing tape. I also have a video series called Making a Mannequin. I make a full mannequin with packing tape, and then I fill it with Home Depot foam. So, yes. Yes, I do. I'm going to have to lift this up to get to sculpt the back side of this thumb. Right now it's not that visible, but as soon as this is on, it's going to be very visible. So I will need to do a little something there.
Shannon had to do a puppy check. It's like having toddlers. When it gets too quiet, it's time to see what's happening.
Oh, you are not even wrong. You're so right.
The request about the stuffed animal masks is yes, I would love you to fix it.
What do you want, a teddy bear? Do you want a teddy bear? Do you have a color preference? Brown, white, black? Inquiring monster makers want to know.
It would be wise to put that in writing somewhere. I'm gonna do this.
Okay, so now I'm just getting a texture over this. I can see on my screen it says brown teddy bear. That's great. We can do that.
Yeah, but we're still gonna do it this way.
This bone was a little too pronounced. This one's pronounced too, but it's not as bad to me. We got some whining puppies tonight.
We are dramatic. We only have two. I don't know where our little girl is.
I think I hear leaves out there, so she's outside. I want to put a nice fat vein on this. Vein going down and up the arm. I think that'll look good.
Are you using any references?
Yes. This is my reference. How am I doing? That is my reference. I want to make it bulkier than mine, so it's bulkier. But yeah, I mean, when you're doing hands, you have a wonderful reference. If I was doing like a reptile hand or something, I'll be doing some sea creature hands here, not tonight, but maybe next week. And when I do those, I'll pull up all kinds of references because there's textures that I just don't have access to. But I'm not doing anything crazy on this one that I need reference for. I'm not saying I'm awesome and I don't need visual reference. Everybody needs visual reference. But my hand works as a great visual reference. Except I have an extra knuckle. So I have to be very careful. I don't just accidentally sculpt in my extra knuckle. If you look at this hand, if you look at my pinky, you can see 1, 2, 3, right? Every other finger, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. They're dirty because of clay, but you can see 3. This pinky, look, there's 4. You guys see that? See that extra knuckle right there? Yeah, all of my sculpting ability comes from me having an extra knuckle. So if you don't have that, just give it up right now. Actually, don't. That's got nothing to do with that. It's even kind of fused together in there, so it's not even a good knuckle. So I'm just taking a wire loop tool into my block of clay, and when I run it, I get this great looking veiny piece.
Michael Lasker said you were a mutant.
I am a mutant. That's how I roll.
A hammer?
And those look real ropey right now. I'm going to blend them in. They're also massive. Now I go through and everywhere, push them down. I'm pushing them in because these aren't laid on top of the skin. These are underneath, and the skin is like a wet sheet pushing up through it, almost like it's a sheet ghost, and you could see the features pushing through the sheet. See how I work that in, Jordan? That's for you, buddy. Like a sheet ghost, but a wet sheet ghost.
Where do you buy your clay from?
Well, I buy your clay as local as you can do it. Even if you have to drive a couple hours to get to it, it's worth it because shipping the clay is just so expensive. It's very heavy, so it's expensive to ship. I either buy from Biddy Mold Supply, which is kind of near me, or Trinity Ceramic, which is in Dallas. And those two places carry clay near me, and they work fine. I also have a clay supplier in Fort Worth if I'm in dire straits. But it's worth driving a couple hours and just get a little more than you think you'll need right away so you don't have to drive there all the time.
I was searching the YouTube for meat hook tutorials, and Alan is the only one. He used plastic hangers.
I did. If you want to get fancy, you want giant meat hooks, you can use PVC pipe. Microwave a bowl of sand, and then you can pour it into the PVC pipe, and that hot sand is going to let you bend that pipe from the interior without getting kinks in it, because it'll kink if you're not careful.
I just did a build using fuel line and old shovel handles.
Okay, cool. All right, so now you can see that I've, braced it out. Now I brush. And now I'm getting all those little marks off of it from where I blended it into the clay. And now I have a vein that is more underneath than on top than it was before.
The sand truck works for vintage steel tubing too.
Yes, yeah.
Sand trick.
Having sand in there to keep it from kinking is the big deal. You want something to occupy that space so that the it won't, collapse on itself.
Casey Campbell is excited to have finally caught a live feed.
Well, Casey, I'm excited that you're watching.
Puppies have calmed down and they're napping.
So I'm going to calm this down a little bit further even. It's married in, but now I'm just going to take some away. It's a little heavy. Now, I'm not too worried about this back here because that's almost not going to be seen because there's going to be a sleeve for the costume. and that'll hide this back joint. But it's always a good idea to feather that out, because a vein is going to pop underneath the surface sometimes, and it's going to have sometimes where you can't see it. It's too deep in the skin. So I'm taking a little bit away to represent this vein just, going deeper and then getting shallower under the skin. Just because you plop the vein down on there doesn't mean it's done. You still need to make it believable.
Getting ready to head down and do some work on the bat creature mask here in a few. That's from Justin Ruby.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I've done a lot of bat creatures in my time. I was a traveling bat monster actor on stilts with 14-foot wings. It's a costume that got me a wife. The night I met my wife, I was wearing my bat creature costume. So be careful where you wear that thing, Justin. Change a life. In a good way. All right, so I veined, and therefore I am. I'm going to pop over here, and I'm going to put some just like cracks and splits and stuff in these fingernails. I think having, perfectly nice fingernails is not a very hunchbacky thing to do. Also, his hands are going to be calloused from the rope.
Are you going to hair the back of the hands?
Yeah, I'll probably put a little bit of wool on them. But I want to get a little bit more shape to these fingers. Just like to hint at the bone inside of there. So there's like something that's a little ridge popping up right here. This one seems a little pudgier than the rest, so I'm just going to take it back a little. So influentially, and I'm not looking at it on a reference and purpose, Distortions did a troll mask in the 90s. And it was a troll head and hand set. Well, they did the Boricon troll is what they did, and then they did a hunchback head and hands. And I never owned them. I've never even seen them in person. I've only seen them in the catalog. But I just thought that was the coolest thing. And they don't offer that anymore. And this is a different. It's not a knockoff in any way, but it is certainly an homage a little bit. There we go. Now those fingers have a little more dimension rather than just chunks of meatloaf, like my hands. I forgot the pinky. I didn't forget the pinky. It's just my least favorite finger, and it does not deserve my attention.
Bat creatures are real chick magnets.
You'd be surprised, my friend. You'd be surprised. There's a reason why I did it for 10 years. All right, so I need to raise this up to get up here under this thumb. Every other finger on this side I'm happy with. Let me move a couple things around because I want to spin this, and I want to work on the edge of the hand here. I've worked on the front and the back, but not the edge. That'll make my life easier. Now I won't knock it over. So let's look at that. If he was going to karate chop you, would it be believable? And some of these lines carry around a little more than they are.
So he's got to love the classics.
You do have to.
Quasimodo is a great character. Victor Hugo killed it.
He did kill it. Just a few creases. And I very carefully trench them.
Outbreak, haunted house, there's a ceramic supply store here you call Alpha Fire Arts. Okay. That's Michael Lasker helping Outbreak Haunted House find what?
That is awesome. Yeah, and they don't have to have wet clay. Any kind of a low cone, non-firing clay. Sometimes I use a type called white stoneware or white modeling clay. I use both of those quite a bit. I think this is actually white. This is white modeling clay. This is not wet. I lied to you earlier because I am a terrible person. So what happens on? There's not a lot. I mean, there's some definition. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a crease here where this muscle is, because I saw that on my own arm. And having that natural crease right here is going to add to the believability of this. I just held it up, and since the light is hitting my arm, I saw this nice line, you know, right here that happens. So I'm adding that.
Have you ever considered making an elephant man mask?
I haven't. And I haven't considered making an elephant man mask because I'm into freaks. I'm really not. So I think he lived his life, and he, I don't know. I feel weird doing that. He was, you know, diseased. He had some major issues. Had probably not the easiest life. And you know, I would feel weird about doing that. The same way I would feel weird about, you know, my grandma died in a car crash. Here's a picture of how messed up her face was. Cool, let me sculpt that. No, that's a different animal, and I'm not going to mess with it. I like my monsters to be fake.
Any tips on keeping the ears stronger during the process and clay removal afterwards? Part of the bat ears are rather thin, and I have a feeling it will be hard to get the clay out from the mold.
Don't make them thin. Fill in the back of your ear, strengthen it. Often what I'll do is I'll run ridges on the back of my ears that go just like a buttress. And look up buttresses on a building, and it's just like a little wedge that goes up, and that's going to add support. The more ridges you can add, it's like Maximilian armor, the stronger it gets. So, they have to look thin from the front. Who's looking at your ears from the back? You know, if you make them thicker than you want them to be, then put some hair on the back. You know, there's ways to hide and disguise that. Okay, so these fingers are not, the ends are not well shaped. So I'm going to take a little bit of time here. Part of what I'm doing right now, I'm in the part of the process where I'm looking at everything on this piece and making sure it looks like it's on purpose. Like everything that happened wasn't just because that's how I put the clay on there, but it's because it was my will. If you sculpt willy-nilly and have, you know, well, I'm gonna sculpt a cool scarecrow. Well, while I was sculpting the scarecrow, it looked more like a clown, so now it's a clown. Well, the clay just told you what to do. This is inanimate mud from the bottom of a riverbed. It should not be influencing your decisions. You should be enough of an artist to enforce your will upon the clay. Do not let the clay tell you what to do. That doesn't mean don't listen to what's happening to it. Of course you listen to what's happening, but Don't let it make your major decisions. If I ever do like a giant, this would be good, good hands for a giant. Nice, I have the rake marks up there on the fingertips from that. This tool is twisted wire. You know, so that twist that it's got on it leaves little marks. It's not a smooth wire. I don't want it to cut, you know, I want this. Makes it feel more fine artsy to me. Makes me feel fancy. These can be painted about 100 different ways. You know, I could add hair if I wanted to. It'd be nice to have a good set of latex gloves. I haven't done gloves in years. Probably, well, no, I made some gloves this summer for a alligator costume I had to do. And I was looking at them earlier, and I was wishing that they were of a type where I could use them for the creature costume I'm making, but I can't. I got to do new gloves. But this sculpture has not taken me long. I'm looking at this next to the head. I feel pretty good. I feel like these two could hang out together on the same body, which is my goal.
I've been playing with Sculpting clay a lot and getting the hang of it doing small pieces.
I find Sculpey kind of tough. It moves around a little bit like chewing gum. So, you know, you push it and the resistance and elasticity that this doesn't have. All right, I'm going to grab something to raise this up. It'll probably be a bucket of latex, because what do I have in my shop? Lots of buckets of latex. Those puckers are fine.
Looks like some stumpy nubs.
Yes. That's because I modeled it after my hand.
Smell the mud, taste the mud, hear the mud, be the mud, still beast deep thoughts.
But don't let the mud tell you what to do.
I'm curious to know what is one underrated monster in film that you think deserves more praise, and what is a highly praised monster in film you didn't care for?
Okay. You'll be shocked to know that I have opinions. Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead is a highly underrated monster. Yeah, he's got a couple of sequels, 5 or 6, I think, but just awesome in his build. It's a beautiful suit. It's a beautiful piece. Pumpkinhead, I think, is one of the most underrated film creatures out there. Now, overrated. I want y'all to sit down. This movie normally has a lot of fans. But I'm going to say the werewolves in Dog Soldiers suck. Why do I say that? Because, I don't know, I kind of want my werewolves to have hair on them. If you look at their torsos and stuff, they're almost hairless. It's weird. They've got these real hairy legs because they're on stilts, which is, you know, they're disproportionate. They're very long and lanky. And then they have almost regular wolf heads up on top that don't look very scary to me. They're regular wolf heads, hairless chests, a little bit of drapey arm hair. I guess that's kind of nice. And then these real hairy legs. It's weird. I don't like that design at all. But people are in freaking love with it. Gross. Happy Valentine's Day.
Is the solid Is the sculpt solid clay or is it piled on Pringles can?
It is solid clay. Just in case I wanted to go deeper than a Pringles can would let me. And there is the pipe in here, okay? There's a pipe in here that is lending support to this. Now the thumb cuticle, I'm just going to push in. I am kind of working at a weird angle here. So I'm just going to push in a little thumb cuticle.
Skullberg says, I'm almost hairless. I'm overrated.
Well, that's true, buddy. That's true.
Steps on molding, please go over them.
First, you want to begin the molding process. And then you want to be in the middle of the molding process. And by the end of it, you're going to be done with the molding process. So do you mean the molding process for this in particular, or just in general? Because it's a lot of information you're asking for. And I don't mind giving it to you, but I want to give it to you in a way that you'll use it. With this, I will probably do the metal shim technique, but I won't use metal shims. I'm going to use plastic playing cards and run my line right here across the back of the knuckles. I'll dig out the fingers, but that's okay. They're kind of stubby and it won't be that hard. I want to put in a little bit of a tendon here off the back of the thumb. Sometimes you can see that tendon that runs right here. And that's not what I just did. I just patched a little hole that I couldn't see before. Now I'm putting in the tendon. And what is this tendon? This is another way for me to cheat and put in a place where this could expand to get a fat hand through there.
Like how are you damming it and using plaster?
Okay, so I guess he means this piece in particular. This one in particular, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take plastic playing cards that are meant to be played in a pool, because there's 52 of them in a package, and they're perfect for pushing into this clay. And I will run my mold line. If you look at how I did it, I'm going to move these a little more forward once the sculpt is almost done. And then I'm going to run my my mold line right here, up the middle, over the top of these knuckles. I will mold the back first. I'll lay it down, and then I'll mold this other piece. So, yeah, maybe I'll mold the front first. We'll see. Attached to this board, and I have a pipe in there, like I was saying, that is screwed down via a flange. So I shouldn't have a problem, even if I wanted to mount this board sideways and mold it like that. I'm actually getting a little warm in here. I'm gonna take off my sweater.
Thank you, Alan. So is this glove going to be made completely out of latex?
Yes, this will be a latex glove.
It's very bright light there.
Is it hurting?
Is underrated.
Yeah, it is. Now, most of the trolls in it are CG, so I don't think of that as a big effects movie off the bat. But it is. It's a very good movie. I enjoy it quite a bit. I was really hoping I'd hear about a sequel by now. I mean, there's a lot of good, underrated horror out there.
I was going to say, you look like Mr. Rogers sculpting in that sweater.
Well, I like cable knit sweaters.
Would you like to guess who that was?
Skullberg.
Yes.
What the hell, Skullberg?
Of course it was.
Again, I'm just taking out some little nips and chips out of All right, so I've sculpted this under here. You know what? I think I'm going to give him a scar. I'm going to give him a big welt scar. Figured he's seen some stuff, you know.
These puppies are cute. What's your favorite monster?
Skullberg.
He said, you didn't have to ask that, Shannon. That's true. You're
So
right.
my favorite monster is obviously the spider gremlin from Gremlins 2. Boy, it's almost like a drider, if you guys know what driders are, from D&D. It's like the torso of a gremlin. It's like a tarantula gremlin centaur. Has the torso of a gremlin and the back half of a spider, like a Black Widow type spider. It's lovely.
I'm still using HydroCal, and I noticed you switched to UltraCal. I noticed a lot of my mask pools are pulling chunks off the mold, and I'm getting small, thin cracks very often. Will UltraCal do the same?
No, those small thin cracks are why I switched. What that means is you're not using warm enough water for the HydroCal. It likes to have warmer water than UltraCal, and we don't do that. In my shop, it's actually hard to regulate water temperature. So I guess I can do this. It's hard to regulate water temperature in my shop. So normally, if it's the winter, my water is cold. You know, that's how it works. It's the same temperature as the ground. I'm in Texas, so it's not ridiculous, but still, you know. But that's enough to give me spider cracks, like so I don't want that. So I switched to UltraCal, which does not do that. HydroCal is fine. It's a great stone, and I like it in the summertime. It's a little lighter than UltraCal. So I'm going to make this scar stand out, because once I put this, you know, this brush stabby texture on it, I'm going to wipe the texture off in the top. Because, you know, one of the things that makes those scars stand out is their texture. All right, so I'm really happy with this hand. I gotta let it dry up some. It's very moist. So now that I've stepped away from the head a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and hop back on the head and start working out some finishing touches on it. Let's now this hand sculpt has taken me 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours. Not long at all. Not long at all. Had to clear a little spot for this guy. You're going on a field trip. Like a cake. Got to carry it across the room without tipping it over. Ooh. Remember that pipe's in there, so it's pretty safe. There was a live stream, I guess 4 years ago now, where I was making this tree mask, and well, this mold, the mold kept falling over, like plaster mold kept falling off the table, hitting the floor. Luckily, it was a well-made piece, so it did not break. But that freaked everybody out.
You have to sculpt a matching hand?
Yes, I do, because I hate myself.
Any chance of seeing the demon devil creature on the wood base? It looks really cool.
Nope, you're scrummed. My wife says I should be nicer than that, so I guess I'll show it to you. I'll bring. And that was the demon over there is one that I did not make. Well, I did not sculpt it. It was sculpted and poured up by Inferno Effects. They have a booth at Transworld every year. They're down on the way to the bathrooms. I love a lot of their original stuff. This is Rob painted this. It's not an Allen paint job. Robert Corey painted this. These are bull horns that we added, and this is pumpkin teeth that we added. So it's a very different sculpt than the original. But I dig it. It's a demon. Is it 10 o'clock, honey?
Until
I'm gonna look at this sculpt for 10 minutes. Her off. Because I called him done earlier when I started working on the hand. What's that, honey?
at least your wife will have to cut off.
I'm gonna cut off myself. Why don't I do this? This is the hunchback. Now that I'm holding my phone, I can see Bill Bordner is on. Bill, glad to know that you're on, sir. Got a little something for you right here in this drawer. What is that? Oh, there he is. Little eyeball. Bill's not an eyeball fan. This is, oh, it's freaking him out. Right there. But anyway, this is my eyeball drawer for eyeball stuff. I only did that to be a jerk to one person. That's how you know I'm not a nice man.
I would love a Carl crop head.
Maybe. My friend Leslie is trying to get me to sculpt a Carl necklace for accessories.
What is the yellow monster in the back?
Garbage. It's a banana monster. It's not done yet. And people ask about it every time. It's a terrible monster. Well, it's not done. It is a grand experiment, as many things in my life are. This is entirely made of Loctite. And some pumpkin teeth, because you can see his hands. But he is a fat little monster with, you can see his feet have pumpkin teeth on them also. And he plugs into a board over there. The creature I made him after is a lubberkin, but he's going to get a whole face out of epoxy clay. I just put some placeholders in there. And I'll do a face sculpt of epoxy clay. But I like kind of how the body turned out. It looks bad right now because it's all yellow. And I've been doing other things aside from finishing him. And he plugs in over here to this base. There we go. Yeah, I think with some hair and some and a paint job and a new face, I think he'll look fine. Maybe not the best way to do things, but it certainly is a way. And as I'm looking, I'm really seeing that this sculpt pretty much is done. What I'm doing now is the back of the teeth aren't that distinct from the palate. So I'm just putting in a little separation there. And this had to be sculpted in such a way, it's a hand puppet. So I'm going to put plates in there to, for make the actor's life easier. But I'm also going to have a system where the head can hang up when he's not,
No, I'm not about eyeballs. That drawer needs sealed.
you know. Uh, it's all about eyeballs. If you guys are friends with Bill on Facebook, please send him giant eyeball pictures. Tell him that Michael Skalberg sent him.
Before you sign up, you should take your phone off and get a shot of his puppies. So everybody has a
Honey, people did not come here to see pictures of puppies.
People don't want to see these adorable puppies napping on the floor?
They don't.
Okay, sorry.
I took a
thought they
poll,
did.
and none of these guys have any interest in puppies.
Okay,
These aren't puppy people, honey. These are hardcore monster-making people.
sorry, my apologies. I thought they might want to see some cute chubby puppies laying on the floor.
You think they want to see cute, chubby puppies?
No, apparently not. I did not know my crowd, so sorry.
I'm plenty cute, and I'm plenty chubby right here.
You are.
I'm all the
Excuse
cute and
me.
chubby they need. All right, let's show them some puppies. Someone said, underside of the chin looks like little balls of clay. No, it doesn't. You just did not see it with a light source. See, so there's a gum deterioration happening, and there are some little nubs under there, kind of mirroring the nubs that are up here on the top of the head. I just wanted a real rough look, like that skin was diseased.
Those Great Pyrenees are going to grow up to be horses.
Yes, they are. Anyway, well, not even all the puppies are in one place. Here is a puppy who is hardcore sacked out. And then over here, oh my gosh, they've decimated my foam. They have chewed up my foam to no end. And now there are two puppies passed out on the foam because they're jerks. Yeah. Lucky foam's cheap, guys. Yeah. But anyway, what are all these tubes you might be asking? This monster, when it grows up, this will be a
What's a sea monster for?
sea monsters for the Monster Museum. Let me see if I can find the tail piece.
Is this?
Yeah, that's it. So this is like the very tail piece of the sea monster. This is 32 feet long, 34 feet long. And this is upholstery foam. It's kind of a tentacle, basically. But this is the tail piece that connects into another piece. I just like waving tentacles around. But I do. But then all of these pieces stack together like a dice. And they'll glue together too, but we're doing it in sections because transporting a 34-foot sea monster to its new home is not without challenges. But these glue together, I have to back up for you to see how big just two pieces are. And there are 9 sections total. So So this is just 2 bits of the sea monster. Yep. Luckily, everything the pups chewed up was scrap. I don't have to worry too much about that. Yeah. This is a little chunk of how I'm going to finish out the sea monster skin. Anyway, all right, so I got to cover all this stuff up. When you are taking care of sculptures and such, sometimes you want to wet them down. Pretty wet outside today, don't have to.
So 4 pups are so overworked.
They are overworked. And this clay here, I'm just going to cover this hand. I want it to dry out a little bit because I can put better detail in it when it's dry. That's the show, kids. Turning things off. What? No, I'm still live. All right, so guys, hopefully you've enjoyed watching me here and poke at a face. Hunchback is coming along. 2 of the 3 parts I have to sculpt are done. So thanks for watching and hanging out. I'll have him knocked out this weekend. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching and hanging out. Go make stuff.